Hey everybody, welcome back to One Mic, and today I'm here to talk about Season 4, Episode 1 of Hulu's Only Murders in the Building, entitled Once Upon a Time in the West. So this episode's named after the legendary spaghetti western by Sergio Leone, and the ending sequence of the episode plays out like the beginning of, Only Murders in the West. Once Upon a Time in the West, just like they say right in the actual scene. The final scene here plays out with no dialogue, just like that one. Just music, sound, facial expressions, text messages on the screen. But Hulu shows the next two episodes within the app, and both are titled after films. So I'd imagine that this Hollywood theme will be persistent throughout the season and probably manifest itself in ways other than the episode titles. And anything to add a little bit more fun to this show, welcomed by me. I'm so happy to have this show back. Like, I really enjoy the 30 to 40 minutes I get to spend with it each week. And in a year that's largely been disappointing as it pertains to both television and film, it's nice to have something to look forward to with this and Industry airing at the same time. This and Industry, it's not like I was putting the two in the same thing. Like, oh, I love watching these things together. But now, admittedly, I was hard on Season 3. I said it wasn't as funny. And the mystery aspect has become both formulaic and predictable. And I stand by both of those assessments, as I always do. But at the end of the day, I simply enjoy hanging out with these characters. Even if I'm not consistently laughing out loud, I'm enjoying myself. The chemistry among the cast, particularly the big three, it's undeniable. And the guest stars just keep getting better and better every season. I'm really excited to see what Eugene Levy, Eva Longoria, and Zach Galifianakis are going to do with their characters and how they're going to be incorporated into the cast. So we ended last season with the murder of Jane Lynch's Sazz, presumably at the hands of someone actually trying to kill Charles. And this episode picks up right where the end of Season 3 left off, but it takes the entirety of the episode for our podcasters to learn that Sazz is dead. Instead, we open the season learning that Oliver's play is dead, but someone named Bev Mellon, played by SNL legend Molly Shannon, wants to make a movie about their podcast. Couple this with Meryl Streep's Loretta being in LA and Charles wanting to visit Sazz to check on her, and our crew now ventures the farthest it's ever gone from the Arconia, which is another thing that I know a lot of fans have been calling for. I don't feel like I personally need it, but a lot of people have been calling for that, and so now we find our crew all the way on the other side of the country. Hey everybody, I just want to take a small break from this review to talk about the various other ways you can engage with me on other platforms. If you're so inclined, and I understand why you wouldn't, I am an acquired taste, but you can join the Patreon where you can get extra content like retro reviews, where I review old shows and movies to see if they still hold up today, Mike's Musings, where I talk about shows I'm watching that I don't cover on the channel, or Mike's VOD, where you can commission me to watch a show, which I will then review on the channel. And if you want to engage with me and chat with me more directly, I also implore you to join the Discord and follow the Facebook page. I set up channels in the Discord for all of us to discuss the shows I'm reviewing on the channel, and I also drop new videos in there since it's the easiest platform for me to share to from my phone. The Facebook can be really fun because I sort of live comment on shows I'm watching, often while under the influence, I'm not going to lie. And I'll also share news there, both about television and film and about myself as well. So if you like my content, you want to be more engaged, you think I'm charming, or you simply want to show support, feel free to sign up for the Patreon or join the Discord or Facebook today. Links to all platforms are in every video description. Remember to share all my shit to your respective social media platforms. And now back to this review. This was a solid episode to set up the season. It seems to be setting up the show to step out of its comfort zone a little bit. And of course, I'm all in on that. Like I've already mentioned, not only do they get out of the Arconia, but we go across the country altogether. I'm wondering how, though, this is going to play out throughout the course of the season. Like, they end up back at the Arconia at the end of this episode, and that's still where the actual murder took place. So, like, are they going to end up flying back and forth between New York and LA? Are Eugene Levy, Eva Longoria, and Zach Galifianakis going to end up flying out to New York? I got to find a name for the three of them as a collective, so I don't have to just say those names. Like, I don't know, man. I gotta come up with a code name or something. Maybe they'll give me one in the next episode. Are they gonna end up filming this movie in New York while the crew works on solving the Sazz murder? Well, unsurprisingly, I'm sure to those of you who have been around for a while, I of course have a theory, but you'll have to wait till the end for that. But this won't be a long video, so you're not gonna have to wait a terribly long time. I'm just hoping that it's not going to be a situation where we only see the three of them sparingly, because the show really sold me on this idea of these three kind of being closely associated with our main three. And the scene with Zach Galifianakis and Martin Short was probably one of my favorites of the whole series. The "Are you the little boy from Home Alone" line, that's going to be really tough to top for best line of the season. And it's wild to get it out there in episode 1. So, but I'm legit going to keep an eye out for a better line, but that was a really good one. Like, I'm going to need as many Martin Short and Zach Galifianakis scenes as they can give me this season. Like, I already thought that was the best pairing of the three when I saw the cast, and that scene was proof that those two are going to be money. It also seems like they may be taking a different approach to the mystery as well. Traditionally, episodes end sort of like casting blame on a certain person. You know, someone might discover a clue that points to a specific person, something like that. This episode ends with them just now discovering the body. So they haven't even started on like a potential motive or suspects or anything like that. So I hope they steer away from kind of like creating a new suspect every week, because that's kind of like, it's almost sucked the air out of the mystery aspect of the show for me. Like, I don't take those quote-unquote reveals seriously at all anymore. Like, I just wait for them to, you know, reveal the relevant information in the finale along with whoever the killer is. So, another season of like 9 episodes where I roll my eyes at them thinking I'm going to believe these fake outs that they do before they reveal the killer in the 10th episode. Like, another season of that would be tiresome. So, I hope they find a different way to play out this mystery. Hopefully they'll take a more season-long approach to the mystery where they don't cast suspicion on, you know, a suspect every week, and instead they just continue to gather clues and information and let us make our own deductions instead of trying to point us in a specific direction that we know isn't going to go anywhere. But having said all that, though, I'm still going to structure these videos going forward in a way where I'm going to talk about what information we got and what it means, if anything. To that point, we don't learn a ton in this episode. We were mostly learning about the development of the movie, meeting the new characters, establishing kind of like these personal hang-ups for each of the lead members of the cast. Like, Bev Mellon has a scene where she basically kind of like points out everybody's flaws, and it's clear those flaws are going to be like driving their actions this season. Like, Oliver questions his talent, Charles questions how fun he is, and that spurs a lot of the decisions that he makes in this episode, and Mabel is concerned about being perceived as a homeless and jobless mumbling millennial. So I'm sure she's going to do things to make sure that's not the case as well. She was kind of like the hold up on signing this contract, and whatever, I don't even think she presented a number, like pay me this amount and I'll sign the contract. I think she requested something else that's going to allow her to feel comfortable with whatever portrayal of her is going to be on the screen. But there are a couple of very conspicuous developments that were relevant before the end of this episode, and one of them may continue to factor in going forward. So the first of those two things was Howard's new dog, Gravy with an E. You don't introduce something like that on a murder mystery show just to like add some detail to like a day one character like Howard. And Gravy becomes relevant like right away. We learned that the E is there because it's Gravy, like as in a graveyard, because he was a cadaver dog. Gravy ultimately leads our team to Sazz's body, which leads me to the second conspicuous development in this episode, Sazz's metal joints from Bulgaria. Like, I don't look at this show as one that requires a bit more subtlety, but as soon as Charles said that she had metal joints from Bulgaria, I wrote in my notes, like, well, that's obviously going to be relevant later. Like, I didn't expect it to become immediately relevant, like, before the end of the episode, but I do hope that some of the clues are significantly less obvious than that line by Charles about the metal joints from Bulgaria. But wrapping up, we have not a lot to talk about in this one. Let's take some time now to look at what clues we've gotten and kind of get into my small little theory. For starters, Sazz was shot through the window. Her body was disposed of, but the killer wanted it to be discovered. Lester, the doorman at the Arconia, he calls Charles to tell him about this note requesting that Charles' window be replaced that Charles never actually wrote. And I think the killer wanting them to know what happened to Sazz is a clue in and of itself. Like, couple this with how quickly production on the movie began, and yeah, I already have a theory. So, right after Sazz's murder, Bev Mellon is emailing them about this movie. By the time they get out there, everything is essentially ready to go already. And then they have to fly right back because they learn about the bullet hole in Charles' window. The murderer on this show is generally someone kind of like new to the cast. Like, obviously that didn't apply in season 1, but I'm thinking the murderer, because of this, I'm thinking the murderer is either Molly Shannon's Bev Mellon or someone close to her, like another Hollywood-related person who essentially wants to mirror the movie that's being made after real-life events. Like, I figure that, God, man, I really want to come up with a name for the collective, but Eugene Levy, Eva Longoria, Zach Galifianakis, I gotta come up with a name, are going to go to the Arconia. If you have name ideas, put them in the comments. Are going to go to the Arconia to essentially study them while they solve the real life mystery about Sazz, and they're going to do that under the pretense of, like, you know, I want to be able to, you know, help me better. It will help me be better able to play your character. And whoever's behind the movie is wanting the movie to basically mirror a real life murder that the team has to solve. So they created the real life murder themselves, which is why it was time for them to go back to discover the body after they'd already signed the contracts for the movie. So that's my little day one theory. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments. Let me know if you have a theory in the comments. Again, let me know if you can come up with like a nice little name for the collective of the actors that are going to be playing our crew. Let me know what you thought about the episode, and until next week, peace.